This episode of the Boss Rush Podcast is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to support the Boss Rush Network and our family of podcasts, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. Thanks for your continued support. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Dirrig, and alongside me, as always, is the PC muscle race himself, LeRon Dawkins.
Yo, what's poppin'?
Hi, LeRon.
Hey, Corey.
Thanks for talking some shiz about me on the show last week. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. As was expected. Am I right?
Sure. Yeah. Pretty much. It's fine. I missed
I
you,
believe.
man.
I believe we said like many times we love you, Corey, but then we continue to talk shit about you.
I know. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Also here is the mad pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Hello, welcome back. We missed you.
Shelfless, I see.
Yes, shelfless, but I still have my Zelda paraphernalia kinda up.
Yeah. I like how it's visible now because like the Deku shield is never visible.
Yeah, it's a little tiny. It gets overshadowed by the massive shelf.
Yeah. Also here is PK Power, Pat Klein.
Hey.
Hi, Pat.
Hello. For a moment, I thought you were going to say, and speaking of overshadowing,
No.
PK Power, because he's fat.
Nope.
I'm gonna virtually slap you.
No, it's kind of funny. Like, I actually just had a work review, and one of the criticisms I had was my dress code. And I'm like, I'm fat. It is hard to find clothes that look good and fit me. Because honestly, I bought 2 dress shirts, like short sleeve dress shirts, that are supposedly my size, and they're not. You know?
So what was so inappropriate about it? Like, I don't get it.
Well, because I have polos, or like, I have polos versus like more dressier shirts, because the polos actually kind of fit me better.
Polo. Well, what do I know? I always considered polos to be pretty professional. Heaven forbid.
Well, this is like the company I work for is very old school professional.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't have any meetings today. This is what I wore to work today. So
Nice.
Yeah.
But you can do that when you're behind the camera, I guess. Anyways, I missed you guys. Last week was I don't know. I was in bed at like 9:00 last Wednesday because of the kids, and it was like, oh, what do I do now?
Isn't it great to go to bed at a decent time?
No.
Right?
Nope.
You should be so well rested, dude.
No.
Well, he does have 2 children in the Disney setting. That's
yeah. So, but I missed it, and I ended up coming home on Sunday and editing the show and posting it, and it still went up on time. So, self 5.
Who's better than you?
Who's better than me? A lot of people.
No.
So.
Ouch.
Well, the good news, guys, is he didn't come back yelling at us like, "What the hell did we do to the show?" So
yeah.
So a win is a win.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. I also came home
next time.
I also came home and recorded all the January patrons because I realized I forgot to do that at the end of the month. So I'm sorry, everybody, who that affected for the first couple episodes of this month.
Way to go.
Sorry. I fudged up. But I appreciate you all anyway. Speaking of appreciation, guys, so now that this vacation is out of the way, we're all about to see each other in about 5 weeks here.
Yeah.
I'm beyond excited. Ed and I ended up making it an expansion pass topic on Monday because we were both really excited.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I gotta listen to this podcast to see what y'all said about us now. Like, jeez.
Yeah. It was more of
Yeah.
like what to expect and like what our plan is like video people and trying to figure out how to make sure we do interviews that fit with the writing stuff and all that kind of stuff. So
I'll admit I'm a little bit anxious, but that's just because I have an anxiety-ridden personality, and I know it's gonna be fine, but I still have anxiety about it.
yeah, no, I do too. I have I'm very like I need to have a plan because I feel extremely unprepared. So
Dude, my
everybody
anxiety at the levels is I'm about to make an Excel spreadsheet of all the vendors, and just to make sure we can all document who's going where, so we don't double up our
yeah.
efforts.
Yeah, we need to make sure that like we are all kind of on the same page and maybe some calendar stuff and I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm telling you guys now. I'm pairing off with somebody from Boss Rush. Like, y'all ain't gonna have me
well,
out there by myself.
that's kind of what we were talking about is how we should probably pair off every day, maybe with someone different, maybe with the same people. I don't know, but we should probably partner at some
All right.
point.
You, Corey Dirrig, you, Stephanie Klimov, and you, David Lasby. I know you're listening. Y'all are my partners. Y'all are my battle buddies. You too, Pat. Because it's got to be the quartet from Boss Rush podcast. It's got to be.
I don't know if 4 or 5 of us can actually travel together because it's so freaking crowded.
It is. It's
Only
pretty
be a
crowded.
wall.
Yeah. Although I've been talking to some developers on the side, and supposedly PAX is going to be less crowded this year because GDC is also going on.
They
week.
did that last year too, though.
Yeah.
GDC was going on, and it was still really freaking packed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saturday.
What they mean to say is going to be less packed with press. That's what they mean to say, because I mean, like, general population will still be out there.
We're less packed with developers.
The week, I mean, I mean, Thursday's got to be the day we get a lot of that stuff in, because Thursday's usually, I would say, probably the deadest day because it's in the middle of the week.
Yeah, that, and we get an extra 30 minutes in the morning before the general public can even get in. Like, we'll really kind of strike while the iron's hot.
I think I would schedule interviews during that time. That is the best time to check out the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not
it's so dead.
I'm probably going to use that 30 minutes to get my PAX jacket, because they ran out of the one that I wanted.
Remember last year when we were there until like about 10 o'clock and the vendors were still open and they had no lines? That was perfect.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the show floor closed at like 6.
I mean,
Well,
the floor
exhibition floor, but there's still
Yeah, there's still plenty of like showcases going on, or presentations.
Oh, okay.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, panels, I guess.
Yes. Do you think they'll have the Ganondorf, Zelda, and Link statue there? Because they had Link there last year.
I would assume. I mean, well, they just debuted the new ones, right? So maybe. But I guess it probably depends on what is or isn't announced at this non-existent Nintendo Direct that's happening and not happening at the same time.
I was checking Twitter feverishly today and was disappointed at no announcement.
Yeah.
The Taipei Game Show had a giant Kirby.
I do wonder if they are holding off because of the Xbox event. That did cross my mind, but also it's Nintendo and they probably don't care.
The Xbox event's a podcast, though. It's not even like a video.
I know,
event,
but it's also a video.
No, so, honestly, I'd say the rumors was completely unfounded, other than the fact it's just that's when it normally hit. Nothing said this year that Nintendo was going to do it, other than people like, oh yeah, they'll do it, but maybe they'll just make it a third party because they'll do something in March.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't set a clock by y'all Nintendo fans anymore, because like y'all have let me down with some
anymore. You shouldn't set it by them anyway.
Y'all let me down with some of these freaking directs, so I'm like, like I'll see it when I see it.
Yeah.
You know, people are expecting Microsoft to announce games during this podcast.
Did y'all?
No.
Hey, did y'all see the TikTok? Did y'all see the TikTok I sent y'all?
Which one? You sent 2.
Yeah, I sent 2. But okay, so you obviously didn't see it then because you would have known the one I was talking about.
You're right. I didn't watch it because I was in the middle of recording when you sent them, and then I forgot
It
about
was
it.
it was PlayStation versus Xbox. It was talking about the reveals of like we have the PlayStation and then we have the Xbox. Then we have the PlayStation 2 and we have the Xbox 360 because like it's a complete revolution of what we did the last generation. Then we have the PS3 on the Sony side and we have the Xbox
One.
yeah, it was Xbox One. Yeah, and then it starts showing
Because
how
it's the
outlandish.
all-in-one
Yeah,
entertainment
exactly.
box.
And yeah, so the names get more and more outlandish. And then so like so after this generation, like someone in the comments was like, Sony, we have the PS6, and Xbox is like, but wait, we've got games.
Funny.
I cannot wait. I can't wait to see what happens. Like, you know what? I guarantee you, like whatever Microsoft's doing right now, like with this podcast or whatever, they're doing it to drum up views. Like like it's a PR stunt.
Yeah.
You know what? I can use the PR stunt as a distraction because as a quick side note, I barely read news anymore because news gives me anxiety and most of the time it's over exaggerated anyway to get views. One of the news that popped up and so I had to click on it was that like some intelligence person that works for the government is pleading for the president to declassify an existing national security threat. So
Yeah,
of
I saw that
course
too.
that's stuck in my brain for the rest of today, and now I'm like having anxiety of what this national security threat is.
That and the mass shooting at the Super Bowl parade today.
Oh dear.
There was a shooting at the Super Bowl parade.
Yeah.
I'm out of it because like I've been busy with work. Like I'm so like like basically like I know nothing right now. Like I didn't know there was an earthquake in California last week. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff that's just happening, And you know what? Honestly, I feel like because I have not been on the internet that much that I feel like maybe my anxiety is a little less because like not only am I not getting blitzed by like all this crazy ass news is happening, but at the same time, like it's more like I just don't know about it. So, like I feel like we're back in the 70s and the 80s where like news had to travel by word of mouth.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't click on that headline because all I can think about is, oh my gosh, are we gonna get bombed? Are we gonna get hacked? Are we gonna
Another fucking alien UFO sighting?
alien
It's
invasion?
AI. It's going to be AI. That's the new security threat.
That can be the only security threat, the only plausible security threat we have right now.
I hope so because all I could think about was alien invasions today. Oh, my mind goes weird places. Anyway, so PR stunts. I'll eat it all up to distract myself. That's just where I was going. Sorry.
Yeah. It's I'm really ready to stop reading gaming news altogether, which is I think part of the reason why this is like, man, I was reading all this stuff last week while I was on vacation, just like scrolling, and I wasn't like checking anything about the things people were tweeting. I'm like, what is going on with Xbox? What is going on? Like everybody was like, Xbox is going away. Blah. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And then I got all this anxiety of like one night I was like, did I invest in the wrong platform? Did I am I making all the wrong decisions here? Like, and then like half of the,
hold on, save what you're about to say for our topic.
This is what I want to talk about later, but I'm just saying like, also like something about digital libraries, something happened with digital libraries last week
Oh, yeah,
some point.
Crunchyroll bought Funimation, and if you bought things on Funimation,
you lose access to them.
Yeah, and I'm just like, did I make the wrong decision going all digital? And I had like this weird mini panic attack, and then I passed out at in bed. Like I was laying there, like scrolling and doing some stuff and trying to get some work done. Like it was like 11:30 at night, and I was dead tired because we had woken up at like 7 o'clock in the morning because we had to be somewhere for breakfast at some point, and I was like dead tired and sore and on all kinds of like painkillers and like my medication, and I'm like, oh my god, I think I'm dying.
Yeah.
What
Well,
is happening?
you know what? I say don't worry about it because whatever has not been declassified yet is probably going to kill us before we lose access to everything else.
No, my luck, I'll just be alive and have nothing to do and be really anxious about it all. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. What are we playing? I was gonna do housekeeping, but I don't want to.
I'll do
Look,
housekeeping.
we have a Patreon, we have a YouTube. Subscribe. We're going to PAX. Meet us there. We're giving away Final Fantasy VII. Read the details. Comment. What was the word this week? Materia was the word this week. Is the code word. So,
This is your first week back, and this is what you do to our audience.
It's been a long week already, and dude, my first podcast back with us, Ed. How would you feel? I'm just kidding. I love you, Ed. Some days that I don't talk to you.
I'll go first because it's basically a recap. It's basically a recap of what I've been playing the last 3 weeks. I've been playing Tekken 8, Final Fantasy 7 Integrated, and Monster Hunter World Iceborne. There you go. Boom. Hashtag return the world.
Woo.
Yay.
I'll go quick, I guess.
Wait, why are we rushing this?
Tifa is waifu.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Wait, Stephanie, what'd you ask?
She asked why you rushed it.
Why I
Why
rushed
are we
it?
rushing this? Why are we rushing?
Okay, you know what? Okay, all right. Okay, we'll back up for a second. Let's drop back to Tekken 8 real quickly. Stephanie, you ready to fight me online yet?
No, give me a
I'm
couple.
only playing
give me
with
another
one character. I'm only playing with one character. That smooth ass Frenchman. I'm only playing with one character right now.
We're gonna play Victor against Victor then.
Ooh, I hate mirror matches, but I'll do it.
Oh, I'll pick someone else. I just need a week then to try someone else. Dang it!
I need a weekend.
Because remember, Tekken 8 is crossplay, so you can play across any platform. So yeah, I'm ready for it. Yeah, I want to play people, but actually, now's probably a good time to actually play against me because I haven't been able to play it most of this week. So I ranked up. I'm like 15th Dan. I'm almost into purple ranks now. So that means something. But at the same time, I haven't really had a whole lot of opportunities to play, Tekken. And actually, I barely had any opportunities to play anything, but I have managed to play those 3 games at least once since last podcast and tonight. So yeah, so I'm not a fraud, I'm not a fake, I'm not a phony, because I did play those games, I just didn't play enough of them to make it matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but I do like Victor though.
Yes. He's smooth, but hits hard. Yeah.
Like Corey, Pat, get Tekken 8. Let's all play.
No.
Yeah.
Let's make it a boss rush game night.
Nope.
Exactly. And it won't take 3 hours like Mario Party did.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't know. I would say somebody set up the stream, and I'll be the one that hosts it'll be like a mini tournament.
Yes.
We could do that if you want.
And then have Ed just be the commentator.
I don't know. I feel like commentators for Tekken, they need to know the move sets and the characters and stuff.
That's what makes it more entertaining if it's Ed.
If you say so.
I think we would piss off the actual Tekken community. So
because all I hear is good googly moogly. Look at that combo he just did.
Look at that weird looking kick, like he's flying around.
The man shot somebody with a gun, then used a sword. What is this nonsense? You can already hear it. I know you can hear it.
Dude, the last time I played Tekken was Tekken Tag Tournament on PS2. Okay, that was the last time I
damn.
played Tekken. So, man, good times though.
Yeah.
You
Good-
can't say I've
good
ever
time.
played a Tekken game.
Also, like there was one where like one of the guys was like this weird breakdance fighter.
That would be Eddie.
Yeah, sure. Yep, him. And then like there was also like a girl in one of them that did the same thing.
Girl,
She kind of looked like J-Lo.
Oh, that's Christy. Like she
Sure.
kind of replaced Eddie for one game, and then like they were both together in like the next game.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and now she's gone.
I should probably fact check myself, but there's a character in Tekken 8 that's like from South America, and so like in a lot of like her.
Azucena. She's the coffee chick.
Okay, but see, here's the
And she
thing.
breaks dance. And she break dances, but she doesn't.
She's like, "Oh, coffee," because that's my
Yeah.
ethnic whatever I'm associated with. But isn't there like in Street Fighter 6 a character that is also from South America that's been
Yeah.
like that? So
Oh,
like,
it's a
come
thing.
on.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Capcom and Street Fighter. Well, the executive producers for Tekken and Street Fighter are like best friends and stuff like that. So they actually do stuff like that. Like they actually create characters that are similar, you know. But at the
No,
same,
but
but
I
not
think
the
my
same.
point is it's too cheesy and stereotypical to be like, okay, the character that's from South America is going to be posing with coffee all the time. I'm like, really?
Well, I mean,
Oh no.
the last two characters that happened in South America were doing capoeira.
Yeah. Well, that's cooler than just holding up a cup of coffee. Like, okay. So what? Like, if I'm a Chinese fighter, I should be like posing with a fortune cookie, be like, "Ha, yeah."
Damn.
Listen,
Well,
I'm
then again,
part Chinese. I can say it.
I
Well,
mean,
then
I know
again-
that's you're making fun of the stereotype, but fortune cookies are secretly the best cookies.
They
It's
are
not
the
my
best
cookie.
cookies. Mm.
I love fortune cookies.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's.
got the flavors.
I'm veering off the path of discussion.
That's
She's a
just
great
gonna be
character.
that's gonna be the thumbnail. It's just a fortune cookie on the thumbnail.
I don't know. I just like if you're gonna make characters, you can make caricatures out of them. Like, I'm really blanking out. The guy that's like the super American guy. He's big, he's beefy, and he rides a motorcycle in and out of
Guile.
Arena.
Paul.
Paul. Like, okay, haha. Like, oh, that's an American guy. Like, I guess. Like,
Yeah, he doesn't have the freaking high top vanilla ice thing anymore.
yeah. I know. I missed that.
One of the editions does.
Yeah. One of the one of the preset customizations has old school Paul, like with the high top like the eraser head basically.
Oh man, so funny. Love it. Love it. All right, I'm going next because mine's also kind of short. I played a lot of Pikmin 4 on vacation.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the only game I played on vacation was Pikmin 4. That game is amazing. Love Pikmin 4. It's so relaxing. I have no idea what's going on because I skip all the dialogue. It's very nice. Thank you, Nintendo, for giving me the option to skip the dialogue. Oh man. And I have now 100%ed 2 areas.
Nice.
I'm working on the third area to 100%. I don't know. I really love Pikmin 4. It's relaxing and fun and great and everything. So, and then I've also started Uncharted Drake's Fortune, and it's for a game from 2007. There are a lot of things about that game that are way ahead of its time, I'd say, and then there's a lot that feels really ancient in terms of game design.
Mm-hmm.
And it's weird how it does both simultaneously in 2024. But I think the characters are so fun, and I love like this. This really feels like the start of of when games really started becoming cinematic in a real meaningful way, not just like you know, I mean, like we had Halo 2 and 3 already at this point, right? Which were like pretty cinematic at the time. And there was some stuff on Xbox and PS2 that felt kind of like they were trying to be cinematic. But this really feels like the next level of that. And so just seeing the characters interact and, moving through the environments, and gosh, I appreciate how linear this game is. It is so linear. It's like one
Mhm.
giant hallway.
Yes.
And it's like, oh man, it's so fun.
I gotta admit, I kind of miss that. Like
Mhm.
obviously, I don't want every game to be like a long hallway, but it's so refreshing because everything's an open world game these days, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with this. So okay with this.
Yeah, it's really strange because like sometimes even like linear games, like they have like the what do they call it? Like the wide what it's called, like wide linearity or whatever, where like the area is very explorable, but you very clearly
Mm.
have a place to go
Path where to
forward.
go, yeah.
Yeah. And this is just like, oh, I'm supposed to go right here. There's very clear like geometry that points you to go go right or left. And I'm just like, oh, this is so nice. And the puzzles are very PS3, Xbox 360, like push these buttons in a certain order and it opens the floor so you can dive down into the secret tomb or whatever. And it's just, I don't it's charming in a way of like, man, I wish games were more like this sometimes. uh so I'm really enjoying it. I'm like, I played for like 2 hours last night and I'm like 25% of the way through the game already, and I'm like, oh geez, I'll probably finish it this weekend. uh So I'm not like looking for any of the treasures. I think I'm playing on easy because I just want to play for the story. I don't really care. Also on easy, the enemies are less bullet spongy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like there's, you know, when you have like 50 of the same enemy running at you every time one falls down and another one pops up and you're like, oh, well, I'll just shoot you. You're dead. Bye. But,
Yeah, dude.
uh, but the last game on here that I didn't put on here that I actually played a little bit last night. I was looking at my PlayStation trophies and I'm really close to platinuming Spider-Man, so I'm like, maybe I'll just do that. So I'm all I have to do is 100% all the districts in Spider-Man, and then I have to like tie up people with the one of the web things, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have to do that like 10 times or something. So pretty close. So I did that a little bit last night. It's the only things I have to do in all the districts are complete all of like the crime wave things. I'm like, oh man, some of them I have like 0 out of 5, and I'm like, oh man, this is gonna suck. But um, it is nice because they do try to prioritize the ones that you need the most, which is a nice thing that they do. So, but that's what I've been playing. Stephanie.
I kept it simple because I want to make sure I got it done in time for book club, and that was Uncharted as well, Drake's Fortune. I made a lot of progress. I think I'm like in chapter 20 now. Like I'm at the end, near the end. Very similar kind of thoughts as you, where I appreciate the linearity, I appreciate the brevity, and in a way simplicity. I try to explore as much as possible to collect the treasures, but I remember there's one part like around the middle of the game where you're underground and you have to navigate this puzzle, and there were like swinging lanterns and stuff, and I could spot a treasure like in the other side of the room, but I kept getting knocked off by those stupid lanterns that I just like as soon as I solved the puzzle, I just moved on and didn't even realize that I moved on and couldn't go back. So I was like, whatever.
Whatever.
Why don't you just like re-roll? Why don't you just re-roll the chapter?
No, I don't want to.
Oh,
I
actually,
don't
wait.
want
You can't chapter select till you beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
that, and I didn't want to deal with that silly puzzle again because it was those swinging lanterns. Like it's like I inch towards the edge so I can hang off the edge and climb over, but I guess I still fall into the hitbox or whatever and I get knocked. I was knocked off like 50 times. I'm like, okay, I'm done.
Trust me, that's not the worst. That's not the worst thing in Uncharted as far as like platforming puzzles. That's not the worst
Oh
thing
no, it's not.
the franchise.
Oh no, it's not. That's just kind of my most recent thing. But yeah, part of what was frustrating was kind of the enemy swarms, and it's more like I will go up from like an angle and I get caught off by surprise. All of a sudden, they're all there and they're all shooting at you, and I'm like, ah! Or like when I clear off the first wave of enemies, I stand there, nothing's happening, so I go for pick up the ammo, and then 50 more enemies come at the same time, and like, it's a little not very seamless, but I, remind myself of when this game was made, and
Well,
when
what
I,
you'll appreciate is if you continue to play the games in the franchise, Uncharted 2 starts the stealth mechanic. Well, a better
Mhm.
stealth mechanic than what was in 1. Starts a stealth mechanic where like you can literally like just traverse and like either not be spotted or kill everybody without causing a ruckus. And it's
Mhm.
actually and you actually encounter if you kill everybody without encountering a ruckus, like instead of like getting blitzed by like 30 people, you don't have to kill like 9 people.
nice.
But it does pad your time though. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
you can't speed run Uncharted in stealth. You can't do that.
No, I can't imagine. No, I like that sense of development. I understand it was the first game of its series. I just remember like a couple areas where I walk in, it's a big arena, lots of ammo on the floor. I'm like, I know what this
You
is.
already know.
Mhm.
You
And
already
see,
Classic third-person shooter design.
Start looking for them cover spots.
Yep.
yeah, and it just sometimes it seems to go on a lot longer than I like. It's like, all right, more,
Yeah.
killing more people.
It's to try to pad the game. Gears of War has the same problem. That first game especially has the same problem where you enter an arena and it just feels like there's so many enemies, and it's to pad the game where like the campaign is only like, if you know what you're doing, the campaign's only like 5 or 6 hours long, but if you don't know what you're doing, that type of encounter makes it about 10 hours long, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous." Gears of War. What a game.
Overall, I'm
Uncharted.
appreciating the experience. I think if I play later Uncharted games, because obviously they will modernize more and more, I think I might be more of an Uncharted fan than a Tomb Raider fan, but that's just simply because of my play style. I like your fast-paced narrative action explorer, kind of almost like Indiana Jones-ish. And I know Tomb Raider is more puzzle heavy, and I'm too stupid for that. So I think I like the action. And thank you, honey. I love you. My son just shouted, "You're not stupid, mom." But um,
Aw.
I think the last
The
comment is, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say the newer Tomb Raider games, like the puzzle stuff, is more of like a side thing now.
It is, and I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I wasn't a big fan of her personality in that one, but
Yeah,
that maybe I could.
her personality in that one's the worst. Like
Oh,
she
that's
is
my
a
favorite
stuck up
one.
bitch in that one. No, I mean in that one she just like uh, in earlier Tomb Raider she comes off as cocky, but this one she just comes straight off as a bitch.
It's like,
Um,
oh, I just started the apocalypse. Oh well,
uh,
that's me when I meddle with things.
I,
Anyway,
I'm also
I just
glad
like,
that her companions started calling her out on that too
yeah,
in that game.
I like Drake. It's got the game's got some humor.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It's actually got some humor. You're fighting a bunch of undead things. Yeah, that took a turn with the Nazis and stuff. With like one of your enemies, so to speak. And the comical like, if we die, I want you to know I hate you. It was just, I don't know. I like it. I like
Yeah,
the bit of levity.
yeah.
So
It's
I forget who's the main bad guy in this game?
I
some
don't
guy
know.
with a British
Roman.
accent.
Yeah,
Navarro?
Roman.
No, well Navarro's one of them, but it's I forget what his first name, but the last name's Roman. It's basically the generic older white-haired guy.
Yeah, oh that's right,
British.
yeah. Yeah,
British.
the guy who can't stand Sully.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And I
right.
love Sully.
we're
So
supposedly getting a remake of this first game at some point.
A remake
That's a
of the
rumor.
first game?
That's a
Mhm.
rumor. That's a
Mhm.
rumor.
It's
You
a
know,
rumor that the what is it, the art and design team, unnamed art and design team from Sony San Diego is making it. So
Hey, well, I would like to see a modernized version of it.
mhm.
Like I said, I like the characters. I feel like the story is, your basic explorer story, but it's good, doesn't overstay its welcome. And I've had the interesting position where I've watched the Uncharted movie before playing my first Uncharted game, which, well,
You
watched
poor woman. You poor
because I
woman.
fell asleep during the movie, by the way. And listen, I have nothing against what's his name, the
Wahlberg?
main actor, young
Holland.
Tom
kid.
Holland.
Tom Holland. I like him. I actually like him as Spider-Man. I like him as an actor.
There's nothing wrong with Holland's Drake. There's nothing wrong.
But I did not like that movie. It spoiled Uncharted for me. And when I played this game, I'm like, I like this version of Sully really better. I like this version. I love this version of Uncharted better than that movie. Yee.
you don't like
That's what
Wahlberg Sully?
I love Wahlberg, but
Wahlberg
I
who
like
plays as Sully, who plays as Mark Wahlberg.
seen one
you
Wahlberg,
want
you see them all.
I
Stephanie, you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
That movie was in development hell. Wahlberg was supposed to be Drake when
Mhm.
when it was first pitched, like
Mhm.
10 years ago.
I actually think he probably still could have made a good Drake if
What,
they
for
would
this
have.
movie, or you mean back then?
No, like now, like when that movie came out, I think you could have gotten like, because I think
Mhm.
at first it was what it was Wahlberg and what Robert De Niro was supposed to play
I think
Sully.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
that was like the
That
original
would be
thing, and
something.
then
But you want to
yeah,
know? But you want to know what's crazy though? Is like Nolan North was actually in the movie, but
yeah,
Mhm.
it was a blink and you miss it type of moment.
yeah.
Oh.
Also, I really liked the Uncharted movie, not as an Uncharted movie, but just as like an adventure movie or whatever. But
Yeah.
like, I don't like how they like mixed the games up
Oh
to make,
yeah,
because it's based more on 2 and 3 mixed together than the first game, and I didn't like the airplane scene in that movie is ripped
that
straight
was
from
right
Uncharted
out of
3.
Uncharted 3.
Mhm.
Like
Um,
Then you
I
also had
was
Uncharted 4 with it being pirate treasure.
and Chloe like kind of
Mhm.
being the main character
Squeeze.
instead.
still, yeah. Like where was Elena?
Nah, not there.
She's
Yeah,
in
I don't
the
know.
so,
sequel.
I hope we get a sequel. I liked it enough. I would watch another one.
As long
I
as
don't think it
Wahlberg
is. I
keeps
don't
the
think it is getting
stash.
a sequel.
It's in development. Tom
It
Holland said
is. It is.
Tom
Oh,
Holland said he's attached to it.
I hadn't heard anything. Oh,
Yeah.
when is he finding time to film it?
In between whatever he's doing now in Spider-Man 4.
He's not doing anything right now. The kid's been like
He's
sitting
taking a
around at
year
home.
off. He said he was taking a year off from acting.
What are you talking about? Like the dude just did a whole damn ass Apple TV series.
Well, he did that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was like 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, and okay, since in between the two Spider-Man movies, like dude filmed the fucking movies, an Apple TV series, and he was in two other movies,
He did
and shit.
Broadway at some point.
Yeah,
Whatever London's version of Broadway is. I don't know what that is.
dude, that kid's been doing so much, kind of like how Pedro Pascal's literally in everything.
Oh my gosh, dude.
And did you?
I like Pedro Pascal, but come on, man. Really? He's going to play Reed Richards?
He's gonna play Reed Richards.
God, man, he's going to be the next person that's in everything, isn't he?
okay.
He's
I'm here to
already in
tell. I'm here.
everything.
Okay, hold on. I'm here to tell you that every Fantastic Four outing, including the original of like Jessica Alba, and well, Chris Evans was the only good casting for those movies. But every casting for Fantastic Four, in my opinion, has been lackluster.
You didn't like the guy from The Shield being the Thing?
The Thing.
And he
Yeah,
was. I mean, he was all right. He was all right. He was all right. You know, like
I-
his voicing and his mannerisms and stuff like that was pretty cool. But that's about it.
Jessica Alba, dude.
I know.
I don't care what she
Okay.
plays in. It's Jessica Alba.
I'm more of a Sin City Jessica Alba fan myself.
I'm more of a Dark Angel Jessica Alba.
I'm more of a Blue Crush Jessica Alba.
Oh God.
I'm more of a all Jessica Alba.
I
but
watched
whatever.
Blue Crush for Michelle Rodriguez. I'll be honest with you.
Oh man.
And I watched Into the Blue for Paul Walker.
Rip.
Yeah. So yeah, Uncharted.
What were we
Thanks for letting me
talking about?
talk about it.
I mean, I
No,
love
Fantastic
me.
just
Four.
finishing up
I do love me some Jessica Alba though. I do, but I
Right.
mean, like,
long exposition on Uncharted. So, but hopefully after this weekend, I can hop on to other games. I think we will talk about this in our topic shortly. That goodness, I don't know what's in store for my PlayStation as far as games in the future. What I'll be playing on it. So
How about the most overly rated PlayStation game coming out? Well,
Foam Stars.
huh? No, I was
Well,
thinking of Stellar Blade.
I'm good.
But it's got all the gratuitous nudity and violence that you could want.
it does.
yeah, it's banned in
Apparently.
Korea because it has I guess full frontal nudity at one point. I don't know.
And that the
I don't know.
suit
I have
basically
zero.
the suit's like
Wait.
you're wearing
With the
nothing at
way,
all.
with the way Sony censored stuff, like didn't they reduce like Tifa's bust size in Final Fantasy VIII for some god awful reason?
I don't know, man. I don't know anything. Okay,
Yeah, like there's not. Yeah, like that nudity that got censored in Korea is definitely not going to make its way to the United States.
Oh
yeah,
hell yeah, it is.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. But man, now I just can't stop thinking about this Fantastic Four thing. I don't care.
Yeah,
You know what? I don't care about the Fantastic Four. The only movie that matters to me right now is Deadpool and Wolverine.
you already know my answer on that one.
I know. I don't care. I like
It's-
Wolverine and I like
I'm not-
Deadpool, so I'm ready.
What you like? Of course, you were like the most overrated fucking X-Men ever.
I don't care. No, the most overrated X-Men ever is Gambit.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's Wolverine and it's Wolverine.
90s
and
kids,
Wolverine,
it's Gambit.
and Wolverine got clapped quite a few times by Gambit.
I don't care. I like them both.
Wolverine
like Hugh
would have been
Jackman
dead
and
a
I like
million
Ryan
times
Reynolds,
if
so
it
I'm gonna
wasn't
watch
for
it.
his regenerative abilities.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't know. Like I feel like. Well, I feel like the second Deadpool movie let me down, which is why I'm not really hyped for this third Deadpool.
You should watch. Seriously, you should watch the PG-13 cut.
Mm-hmm.
It's better. It's seriously. I mean, it's essentially the same movie, but there's extra scenes, and that some of the scenes are changed because it's PG-13, and it makes the movie better.
Huh.
So
Okay, so how would I go about finding the PG-13?
it's on Disney Plus.
It's on Disney Plus. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Or I'm sure you can find it somewhere. Yeah, but this Fantastic Four thing just I have zero interest in it.
I'd say wait till they cast Doctor Doom. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what happens then.
I'm just not a Fantastic Four fan in general. I mean, but again, I guess I wasn't really an Iron Man fan before either, and look how that turned out. So who knows?
No, I trust Marvel with their casting decisions when it comes to their main characters.
Mhm.
Like they've casted a lot of known people that you question every time, like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Oh yeah, he makes a perfect Iron Man. Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Who the hell is he? Oh yeah, he's like the perfect.
Yeah,
Even like Star-Lord.
yeah.
It's
yeah. Yeah. No, I get it. I'm glad they're slowing down too.
Honestly,
Because
I never questioned the casting of Chris Pratt as Star-Lord. I never questioned that.
well, when they cast him, remember he was Andy on Parks and Rec, and he was still like way overweight and like all that. Not that like you can't have an overweight superhero, but that was like the big thing was like Star-Lord looks like this, and this is this guy over here, and how are you gonna whatever.
Mhm.
Anyways, enough of that. Guardians of the Galaxy ride, by the way, at Disney. A+. I had to ride it by myself. What were we talking about? Oh, games. Pat, what are you playing?
Hey, that's right. I played games too. I decided, for book club, I might as well play Uncharted again instead of just kind of relying off my memory because, that had been cheating. But I'm glad I did. That one's a fun game to always go back and revisit. So and I know we already talked to death, so I'm not going to talk about that one. However, I did start another Tomb Raiding adventure game.
Ooh,
That was also an older version called Tomb Raider, the remastered version.
nice. Game's awesome.
And yes, let me tell you, if you thought like there are some old school moments on Uncharted, going back and playing the original Tomb Raider, it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. I mean, Tomb Raider. I would say Rise and Shadow are definitely the top tier of that trilogy. But that first one was like really interesting when they brought it out. Remember when everybody was mad that Lara's boobs weren't giant traffic cones inside her whatever, and her butt cheeks weren't hanging out of her shorts? Like everybody was so mad.
I think we got the wrong Tomb Raiders mixed up here.
No, I'm
I'm not
saying like
talking.
every.
Yeah,
Oh, you're talking about the
I'm talking
remaster
OG
Oh, you are talking
remaster.
about traffic cone.
I am talking about Traffic Cone.
Oh
And
man.
what's great about the remaster is that all you have to do is push the start button or whatever the options button on the controller, and it
Mm,
switches between the remastered and the original.
nice.
So, like, the character models are all coney in, the original, or things are just a hell of a lot more flatter with, like, less detail. Or you can switch to the remaster and, get a resemblance from, like, old PS1 to maybe, like, old PS2 graphics now.
Mm.
Slightly smoother, but
It's
not too much of a difference.
so funny when I watch gameplay of that game. Like the Lara Croft models look so much better than the rest of the game. It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, they definitely put a heck of a lot more uh, polish on her than everything else in that game. Like it still looks like a late gen PS1, early gen PS2 game. Um, but the thing that it makes it worthwhile to play is that they did add modern controls to the game.
Thank God.
Because I started off with the tank controls and oh wow that
Did you
I
have
don't
to like
remember how I
jump
played that.
backwards 3 times and then walk real slow up to a ledge just to jump to the next ledge?
I mean, you had to, yeah.
I know, I know.
It was horrible, and
Did you
like
lock the butler in the freezer?
I'm playing the first one, so the butler doesn't exist yet.
Aw.
That's in the second one where you can start doing that. Yeah, the first one just kind of gives you a small tutorial through like 3 rooms in the mansion, and then then she make no 4, and then she makes a comment after you swim now she has to take off her wet clothes, and then cuts back to the title.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the traps and stuff are very very old school. Not nearly as cinematic as what we're used to with the Uncharted or the later Tomb Raider games. The combat is got some horrible locking. Like the second you move, all of a sudden you just unlock from whatever you're aiming at. It's very old school. Um, I'm not saying that's difficult. The modern controls definitely make it like so much more easier than what it was back in its original PC PS1 days. But yeah, unless you really want to see what her origins is, this might be one you might. Well, it's cheap. I think it's only like $40 ish. I don't know. It's a hit or miss. This game. It could appeal to some, but honestly, it's very old school to its approach.
Hmm.
Other than that, I also got a code recently from our friends at Kepler Games. Thank you, Jenny, for this, Kimchika. She gave me a code for Ultros, which is
Hmm.
a psychedelic 2D Metroidvania game where you play as this unknown traveler in a spaceship called the sarcophagus, and you're like trapped in some sort of loop where the spaceship is like a mix of botanical and like machine as well. And it's got this very colorful art style by a very famous artist who did games such as Hotline Miami. But the colors just absolutely pop out in this game. And it's cool just like seeing things like burst into, just like little spory colors and just splashing the screen. And it's an absolutely gorgeous game. The story right now makes no sense whatsoever because you are trapped in this loop where you're kind of told by a ghost to go kill off the shaman that are on the ship. And by doing that, you're going to be able to escape. Clearly, that's not going to be the full picture. And from what Jenny told me, there are multiple ways you can actually end up playing this game, including more of a pacifist route. But at the moment, I don't think I have that availability to do it. One of the other things about this Metroidvania is it's a mix of Metroidvania and it's a mix of gardening. One of the things that makes it different is that you can get seeds and you plant them, and when you go through these loops, the plants can like alter the environment in some way during your next playthrough. So
That is cool. And I
yeah,
really do like the Hotline Miami like art style.
mm-hmm.
Looks good.
Yeah, no, it's a gorgeous game. Um, it has the roguelike element because of the loops, because once you re-loop, you lose all the abilities that you have again, and will kind of have to go and like you have to eat food to strengthen one of 4 traits, and then once you get enough points in one of those traits, you can transform that into an ability. Now, to prevent you from always having to regenerate these abilities, you can eventually find items that can lock an ability so that when you re-loop again, you have that ability on you. So you don't have to always like learn the same path just to get like a special like higher jump ability or a combo ability. You can lock it for your next go. I haven't gotten too far in it, unfortunately, because I just started it yesterday. But I'm enjoying what I'm seeing right now. The combat is playable. There's dodging, there's attacking, jumping. It's got all the classical platform features. And it's not like the combat hasn't been anything like unfair. Like I fought one boss, and it had some nice strategy, trying to find weaknesses and trying to coax it into doing certain attacks. But yeah, overall, like I'm enjoying it so far, and I look forward to trying to understand what the hell's going on because it right now nothing makes sense in that game. It's just pretty to look at.
Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, but it's gorgeous, so you just keep playing it.
It's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Fair. Is that it?
Yep.
Cool. If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network. Cool. There was something I was going to say before we got into our topic. Right. So, before we get into our topic, I wanted to give a shout out to this game I saw on Twitter as I was scrolling through people who were going to PAX East, and I want to try to get this solo developer on the podcast or an interview or something when we go to PAX, because I think this person is going to PAX, but they are creating a Metroidvania game. It's the way it's described as Super Metroid meets Axiom Verge.
I've heard about this. Yeah,
It's called Rebel Transmute.
Yeah. One one of the YouTubers that I'm inspired by, like put it had it on there. Put this on your radar list.
Yeah, it's coming out on everything on March 14th. It looks awesome. It's one guy for 5 years has been developing this game, and it looks it looks incredible. So check that out. I wanted to give that a shout out. Evan Tor is the person's name. Evan _ Tor TOR on Twitter if you want to follow. I'm going to try to have them on the show to try to talk about this game around the time it's released, or even at PAX if they're at PAX. So
I'll totally join you on that interview. This game looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks so cool. Just wanted to give that a shout out because cool games deserve shout outs. And yeah. All right, guys. Speaking of cool games, one of our topics here was how did you pick your main console? And I kind of want to intro this topic, although I know one of you probably picked the topic, but I want to intro the topic of with all of the drama from Xbox last week and all the weird stuff that PlayStation kind of came out and said today. Not weird, but their financial stuff and their new interim CEO came out and said some stuff today that has a lot of people in a frenzy. And
it's almost like we just reheard the Xbox rumors all over again, but just on PlayStation side.
I know.
Stephanie, remember last week I was talking about a gaming recession? Remember?
Yep, and we're talking about like a bubble and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. Yep.
And so man, so before I actually found out what was going on with the Xbox stuff, and people were saying that Xbox, like Microsoft was getting rid of the Xbox brand and the Xbox division, and everybody was getting fired, and all these games are going multi-platform, and Xbox isn't going to exist anymore. I had this weird thing of like, did I invest in the wrong platform? Am I rooting for the underdog for no reason? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and you always have that question, especially growing up in Cleveland, being a Cleveland sports fan of teams that are normally pretty bad, right? Or losing teams. You root for the Browns, right? The losers of the NFL. Okay. And there's just something about the underdog that you want to root for, right? And granted, that's not the reason why I like Xbox. I like the online features. I think the store is great. I think I like the controller better. There's a lot of different reasons why I choose Xbox over PlayStation for a lot of games, right? But at the same time, it's like, man, if all these games I'm looking forward to, like Hellblade 2 or Indiana Jones, make the jump to, and there's even rumors of like the Master Chief Collection making the jump to PlayStation. Now, granted, the only ones, quote unquote, confirmed making the jump to other platforms are Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and maybe Sea of Thieves down the line, right? And all those Twitter accounts have kind of confirmed, but not confirmed, right? The Hi-Fi Rush with the different T-shirts, in-game skins that you're going to get on each platform. Sea of Thieves did the roses are red, violets are blue, boats are green. I don't know, something weird. And so it's like LeRon said, we're in this weird gaming bubble that is clearly bursting before our very eyes, where PlayStation doesn't have any internal studio games coming out from known franchises. A lot of their exclusives are second party deals, right? Timed exclusives, total exclusives from other teams.
Did hear one really cool rumor though.
What was that?
Possibly a new Astro Boy.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. I heard that on a podcast last week I was listening to, which would be our second topic tonight. But we'll get there when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
New Astrobot would be
Astrobot, sorry, Astrobot, not boy.
Yeah.
I was like
I-
Astro Boy. I was like,
Yeah.
well, damn, Sega's reaching back.
I knew what you meant, Pat.
Did LeRon
So
know?
like, are we just in
I
this
didn't know.
like, is this bubble gonna be? Is this bubble gonna burst? And what are we? Did we all make the right choice of picking the consoles that we have? Like, are games really going to be multi-platform, and it's going to be this is the transition into the universal box, like a VCR or a DVD player or a Blu-ray player?
Before Pat and Stephanie answer your question, I wanna ask you a question, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
What is your overall allegiance to the Xbox? What is it? Because me, like, yeah, like, when it comes to the consoles, like, I'm a PlayStation person,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm a PC gamer, which
Yeah.
means, and guess what? That's where all the video games come.
Yeah,
to.
I know. Everybody's like, just build a
But they
PC,
come
you'll get
to-
everything.
Broken.
Well, no. I'm not here to tout like PC hashtag
No,
PC
I know.
Master Race.
I know.
I'm not here to do that. But what I'm saying is, like, the very first video game system I had was an Atari. So you can imagine
Yeah.
what the hell happened to me for like 5 years in my life.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
All of our
It was-
Atari games came in a trash bag.
Yeah, like when the Atari went the way of the dodo, and I basically had to play that system until it died. And guess what? There was no way to replace that goddamn thing. And then we had to
There
go
is
back.
now.
Yeah,
You can replace it now. Atari's
that's
selling
true.
it.
Yeah, but back when I was a kid, like, I didn't know.
know.
I can't look in the future, and and shit, I'd love to have a Wayback Machine and tell my young self, like, don't worry, like, the Nintendo Entertainment System's coming. Like, just wait for that. I feel like, honestly, like, the reason why I ask you that question is because, like, for me as a gamer, I've always been into the games, and
Yeah.
and usually that's how I get swayed. And now I'm not I'm not just into the games, but I'm also into the experience, which is why I'm a PC gamer at this point now. Like,
Mhm.
I want to, like, play the games the best way they were meant to be played. That doesn't just mean, like, the fully optimized way to play, because the fully optimized way to play is to get it on a console, because like, it's in that ecosystem that is not going to break. The only thing that breaks the game is when the developers do something fucked up, in the coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so, like, yeah, like, I've had an interesting, like trip through the gaming landscape. Let me see. Like I said, started with Atari, got Nintendo, like immediately, like, moved to Sega, but still had my Nintendo systems, right? PlayStation came out, and the main reason why I got a PlayStation is because I realized I had outgrown, like, the stuff that Nintendo was selling.
Mhm.
Like, and I became basically, like, all the games I wanted to play were on the PlayStation. Sure, there were games that are on the Xbox that looked cool by the time the Xbox came around, but like, I wasn't going to spend $400 just to play Jet Set Radio Future and Jade Empire, and
Bad choice. You should have. 2 great games.
I eventually played Jade Empire, and
I know.
now, like, 20 some odd years later, I can finally play Jet Set Radio Future, thanks to my Aces ROG ally. But I was a diehard Dreamcast person, so you can imagine. I was a diehard
I
Sega
was
Saturn
too.
person. I was a diehard Sega Saturn person, and then a diehard Dreamcast person. And both of those consoles crashed and burned. Like, Dreamcast crashed and burned so badly that Sega got out of the hardware business and stuff like that. But like, I had a fallback, because, like, while the Dreamcast was out, I had a PlayStation.
Mhm.
So I don't feel like I honestly don't feel like I've ever been shafted, like, like, when it comes to, like, the consoles I picked. So, like, there's a part of me that's trying to figure out where all the devout, like, fealty is to, like, these systems and stuff like that. Microsoft has a wonderful ecosystem. Now, I think Microsoft is just tired of licking their wounds, and if they decide that they're going to just, like, kill the hardware department, I get it. But at the same time, for the fact that we have people that are so demoralized, and dejected to the fact that like they would swear off like other like like platforms and viability and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, let's be serious. Like back when the 360 came out, when I discovered that like 360 exclusives were also on the PC, and I already had a PC, like I mean, why
Mm-hmm.
didn't they spend that extra money?
Yeah.
It made zero sense to me. So you know what? Now I'm going to troll you guys for a second. Maybe you guys did pick the wrong system to begin with. I'm gonna, yeah, no, I'm being serious because, like, like honestly, like for all the time y'all spent like on like the Xbox, and yeah, like at Exodus 803, you guys know when I do my hot takes, I always say, hit me in my socials and my DMs and stuff like that. It always looked like basically what Xbox culture was doing was basically like keeping the flames of the fires going on the PC side, because like in all honesty, if y'all cared that much about Xbox exclusivity, y'all would have railed against every time like a first party game came was also launched on the PC side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
No, it's not about the Xbox. It's for me, I'm not like an Xbox super fan gonna swear off the Xbox or anything. For me, it's about the controller and the online. Well, for a long time, it was about the online services and that kind of thing. And then I just kind of stuck with it because I enjoyed playing on that platform. My friends are there, and I mean, cross platform wasn't a thing until very recently, right? And so, um, I just that's just where I prefer to play my games, especially now too, because like the dual sense hurts my hands. Like I
mhm.
can't play that thing for very long without my hands starting to hurt. And the Xbox
uh,
controller is just comfortable for me.
But by the way, I want to swing back to something you said real quickly. Like the Xbox Online system was amazing, and I think what a lot of people do not give credit to is Microsoft and the Xbox brand is the reason why our broadband internet infrastructure in the United States got better. When when
Hmm.
when they decided to come out their face and say like always on technology and you have to have like certain speed internet and stuff like that, guess what? Microsoft helped spearhead a technological jump in our online communication system, because guess what? If the Xbox hadn't dared to do that, we probably would still have shitty internet. And when I
Yeah.
say shitty internet, I don't. What I mean to say is like we wouldn't have all these fiber options. We wouldn't have all these shit like these satellite options and stuff like that. We still have like we probably have like better than T3
Yeah,
if anyone can
we'd
remember
be going.
that.
I was about to say we're about to go over to our friend's house who pays the extra dollar for the T1 line.
Yeah,
It's kind of
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So and but also like yeah, like I think Microsoft and Xbox for doing that, but I also have to thank other companies like like Nintendo for like basically making like handheld and portable gaming a reality. I know this is my phone, but guess what? Like our phones have come the way they have come because of the fucking Game Boy. You know,
hmm
shit, we wouldn't have this plethora of fucking like like portable PC stuff if it wasn't for like the wild popularity of the Nintendo Switch, which is why I cannot wait to see if Nintendo's gonna fuck it up with the second iteration of the Switch. I'm just taking a wait and see attitude and stuff like that. I feel like we live in a wonderful time of gaming, and yeah, like I did say something about a gaming recession, which I believe is on the horizon. COVID hurt the gaming industry more than it helped it. I'm going to I believe that. The reason why is because look at all the goddamn layoffs we've had in the last 18 months. Look at that. Instead of sinking more time in research and development, yeah, research and development would have gotten slowed, but instead of sinking more time in research and development, yeah, Unreal, did their thing, and we have Unreal 5, which I'm noticing like a lot of more and more Nintendo games are being released on an Unreal Engine. Good job, Nintendo. Good job
Prince
for.
Princess Peach is unreal.
Yep,
They
exactly. Good
confirmed.
job. I like when companies like Nintendo, for one, who we universally call lazy, Do shit like that. I like when companies actually step outside the box and go outside their comfort zone and do things. Sony's taking an awful risk right now with the VR. And I feel like they're crashing and burning on that one, but who knows? They might have a trick up their sleeve by the end of 2024 with that damn thing. We got to wait and see, the whole thing with Microsoft right now, like I did start to worry just for one simple thing. Like all these rumors are coming around, and normally when all these rumors happen, like the company is responsible for like the brand usually comes out and says, no, this shit ain't happening. But like we got a blanket statement from Uncle Phil that did not sound like he was trying to discourage us. So yeah, I get it. Like there are some things that we have to think about here, but the long standing question is, why'd you choose your platform? And we also have to answer the question, what happens when your platform like leaves a vacuum?
Yeah. So I didn't.
Damn, this should have been a Crossroads topic. Fuck. Why am I not producing Crossroads episodes right now?
Why aren't you? That's a good question. No, I didn't get into the Xbox ecosystem until Gears of War came out. And then I became obsessed with Gears of War. I didn't get into I played Halo at my friend's house, right? And like I got an Xbox at one point, but I had like 5 games for it, like Jade Empire and Knights of the Republic and Halo and Fable and I don't know, something else. The Jet Set Radio Future Sega GT double pack is what I had on that console. And Crazy Taxi 3. Those were the 6 games I had for Xbox. And then I became super obsessed with Gears of War and Halo 3. And then I just was obsessed to the point where like, and obviously like the PlayStation 3 was at launch at least was like $600, and what was the best game at launch for PlayStation 3? Like Genji or something. Like it was. So the Xbox.
I'm having a hard time remembering actually. Like I feel like it was such a blur for the launch of the PS3.
Yeah, and so like that was the reason why I chose the Xbox 360, and then I just stuck with that ecosystem, and I got a PS3 eventually, right, for Uncharted and God of War 3 came out, which was I think the game that I bought with my PS3. Man, God of War 3 is amazing. But like then I got my Xbox One. I actually got a PS4 first because all my friends were playing Destiny on PS4, and it had like the exclusive stuff, and we got really into Destiny for a while. And then I got my Xbox One with the Master Chief Collection when it came out. And then obviously like the Xbox has just struggled since then, but like playing online and playing with friends, like I probably during the Xbox One generation, I played more games on Xbox, but I probably played more PlayStation because of Destiny. And so like I don't know, I prefer the Xbox online stuff. I prefer the controller. A lot of the games I preferred at one time. It's kind of hard to say that now because Xbox hasn't really had any major releases. Like Halo Infinite was awesome when it came out, but like I'm not really into the Halo online scene anymore. Like the online's fun, but like I don't have time to sit there and get good at the Halo online anymore. So like I kind of my online play comes with Destiny, right? That's the online experience I have. And so I can play that on any console I have. I can play that on my computer if I wanted to. I could play it on a handheld if I wanted to because the Epic Game Store gave away everything, all the Destiny stuff for free over Christmas break. And like, it's crossplay, so I can play it anywhere, cross progression, all that stuff. And so I just kind of continued with Xbox. It's not that I prefer the Xbox brand over the PlayStation. It's just I prefer the experience in the store and the controller and other things. I don't really have an allegiance, I wouldn't say. And like, I've actually played a lot more PlayStation over the last few months, just based off of like book club stuff or, other games that I've just been interested in, right? Like, I've dabbled in the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. I played all 3 Spider-Man games. I'm playing Uncharted right now. I just re-downloaded Hellblade on the PlayStation because I already 1K'd it on Xbox, and I'm going to try to get the platinum on PlayStation. Like, it's just games are games, and I like the games. My thing for quote unquote choosing the wrong system is, did I invest in the wrong ecosystem? Because I've spent a lot of money on the Xbox store, right? I spent a lot of money on third-party games, first-party games, Game Pass, Xbox Live Gold over the years, right? Like, I probably have I've probably purchased over 300 games over the last 20 years or so, right? And so, if like, again, Xbox already confirmed they're not going to stop making consoles for the foreseeable future, right? And they have a plan for a next generation console in a couple years already. But like, if Xbox goes away, all those games go away, and I feel like, does that mean I wasted my money or my time or my, all my achievements go away? All of these experiences I had with friends go away? Like, what did I invest in the wrong ecosystem because of the poor decisions that one, what do you call it, administration made, and then the poor communication of the current situation at Xbox? Because that's been the big problem now, is like, I feel like the Xbox leadership says a lot and tries too hard to be part of the community, that they're not communicating correctly and they're not communicating the right way. And I think that's the frustration in the Xbox community right now, especially, is like, they're not communicating, right? And
I don't think any of these companies communicate. If I'm being honest with you, like like Nintendo is so fucking clamshelled, about information and stuff like that.
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
only
but
thing. Oh, go ahead.
oh yeah, but when you talk about and PlayStation was like this during the early PlayStation 4 era, right, where they were like trying to be the cool guys, and like, obviously that Adam Boy's Shuhei Yoshida, this is how you give games to your friend on PlayStation, and they just that infamous video that pretty much killed the Xbox One, aside from the price and the Kinect and whatever else. But Nintendo and Sony have kind of gone into this, we're not going to say anything and nobody's going to question us because we don't say anything, and we'll say things when we're ready to say them. Whereas I feel like on the Xbox side, they say a lot and they talk a lot, and they're personality driven to the point where people feel like they're connected to the leadership there in a way, and they want more information from the leadership because they feel more connected to the leadership. It's almost like when Reggie was at Nintendo and everybody felt connected to Reggie. And I don't know, man. I just feel like the more Xbox talks but says nothing, the more the community wants to be involved, and the more they question where are the games, what's going on with the ecosystem, what's going on with the leadership. But you don't have that problem on Nintendo or PlayStation, because their leadership doesn't really say anything. And when they do say something, it's impactful because they very rarely say anything. Like today, right? They said, we're not going to have any internal, known franchises come out until in this fiscal year, right? Which is March 2025 is when it ends. Okay, well now PlayStation gamers know what to expect from first party. Now they're looking at second and third party, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem that Xbox has, is like, nobody knows when anything is coming out until, the developer direct this year. We finally have some sort of roadmap. And now that there's a roadmap of games, the rumors of all these games coming to other consoles is like, well, are you burning the Xbox community because these are going to be multi-platform games?
There was
And I'm not saying these games are going to be multi-platform. I'm saying that's what the community kind of is projecting out there, right? Like, we don't know because we're recording this episode the day before that big Xbox event podcast thing.
So
right?
I would not be surprised if people wind up in our comments somewhere. What the hell were y'all talking about?
Yeah. So I want to make that clear. Like, we're saying all of this before that event, and all these questions could be answered tomorrow, right? But like, as of right now, that's what the Xbox community is projecting, is like, are we about to be screwed over?
Mm-hmm.
So
before I say anything further, Pat, Stephanie, please, like, y'all have been quiet.
yeah, sorry, I've kind of been rambling.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to interrupt all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's something else I want to kind of add to the conversation. Essentially, okay, so like you are right about the way the companies communicate with each other, because communicate with the communities and stuff like that. I think that's a key thing here. I don't know. Well, we back during like all the talk with the FCC, I'm sorry, FTC, and the European Oversight Committee and all that stuff, back when the merger and back when the acquisition was happening, stuff like that. We heard one line over and over again from Xbox's side that they were tired of being third place. They were tired of being third place, and the fact that we had to hear this in depositions and not from the company's mouth, like, I think that's what kind of like start definitely like stoke the flames of the whole like underdog syndrome and stuff like that. Everybody loves a good underdog and stuff like that. I don't think Microsoft, I don't think Xbox is hurting, because like Xbox has daddy Microsoft behind them and stuff
Also,
like that.
they're doing better financially than they've ever done in the history of the platform.
Exactly. And sometimes I really wish that people would actually take a moment to look at that. Like, one thing I've learned in my transition with my job into a more leadership role for my company is like the sales numbers tell the story and stuff like that. The Xbox brand is doing well. It's probably not doing as well as the company wants to make it. Like whatever Satya Nadella is talking about, whatever Phil's talking about, whatever Sarah's talking about, and stuff like that. Like, the Xbox brand is not drowning. The last drowning ship I saw, was
Sega.
exactly. They're not drowning, like hardware companies. Nintendo is making money on all the hardware they push out right now, but then again, the Nintendo Switch is cheap as fuck to make right now in this economy.
Well, it was cheap at the beginning anyway, because that technology they were using was already 10 years old.
Yeah, but they were still taking a loss up until their second or third year. They never took a loss.
Nope, they were making. I think the calculation was like $6 off of every console.
See, you would know this. And actually, that brings me back. I had a question when you were talking about all this stuff. Did you also feel this way when the Nintendo Wii U was doing as badly as it was? Because the Nintendo Wii U was not doing
well.
I would say it's probably one of the worst consoles they've had since the Virtual Boy.
It is. It's their worst selling home console ever.
Mm-hmm.
It sold less. It's 8 million less than the GameCube. So,
and didn't people think the GameCube was a flop?
No, people love the GameCube.
I love the GameCube. But if you hear people talk now, like people
sales wise, I just don't think it was that great.
It was, I think, 21 million. I think was the GameCube.
That's what I was about to. That's what I was about to say. When you hear people inside the Nintendo sphere talk about it, they act like the GameCube was not a success.
Yeah,
and I'm like, shit. The GameCube was the first Nintendo system I took seriously since the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, so when Ed and I first started Pal Block, the sentiment around Nintendo was, a lot of people wondered if they were going to go third party and make games for the other consoles and then just make handheld consoles. And I think Ed and I knew that wasn't going to happen because Nintendo never does what people want them to do, right? And Nintendo, for better or for worse, was especially then was like a stubborn company of like, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. If it doesn't work, we're going to try something different. And, I think the sentiment around then was like, yeah, the Wii U might have been a failure, but the next console has to hit, or Nintendo is in serious trouble in the home console market. The handhelds were fine, but also you look at the 3DS, and I think alarm bells internally were going off about the 3DS also because it sold less than half of the DS, right? Even though it sold 75 million units, like when you have the best selling handheld of all time in the DS that sells 154 million units, and you go to push out a follow up to that console and it does less than half as well, and then your home console effort is like less than 1/10 of what your previous home console was. Like, Nintendo had alarm bells going off, and like there's that whole story. It's circulating now that Iwata cut his salary in half at one point to keep his team together, keep the Nintendo teams together. I think one year he actually only paid himself $1, the equivalent of $1, to keep his teams together. That was a rumor floating around. I don't know how true that is, but he definitely cut his salary, and I think the strength of Nintendo now over everybody else, right, is like that. Nintendo is in a better position than everybody else because of budgets, development costs, right? Like Nintendo is never going to make a game the way that Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica or the Coalition make AAA, quadruple A games, right? Like they're not going to have the mocap, very little voice acting. They are the masters of asset reusability, right? I mean, you look at their games now, like I think their biggest game is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and it's 17 gigs, right? Now, granted, they're not using 4K assets and, the technology, obviously their assets are going to be smaller based on the technology they use anyway, or the engines that they use. But like, their production costs are down and their budgets are down and they don't use mocap studios. They recycle animations and all this other. I mean, Mario's had the same running animation since Nintendo 64, right? I mean, that's just how they operate. And, for better or for worse, they're in a better position than anybody right now because of the decisions they made way back then. And, um, did we think the Wii U was a failure? I mean, I really like the Wii U. I think the gamepad feels like a Fisher Price toy, but like the games were awesome to the point where like I think something like 6 of the top 10 selling Switch games are Wii U ports. One being Mario Kart 8 that has sold 61 million units on the Switch. So, it's not that Nintendo didn't have good games. I think the hardware always scares people away if it's different. And I think if you skew too far one way, in innovation and changing the way people play games, the way that the Wii U did with the second screen experience, and I think they wanted to bring that DS experience home, and it just didn't work for them. I think you scare people away, and I think what they did with Nintendo Switch was brilliant. They have that home console experience, but the innovation is you can take your home console with you, and they merged their portable and their home console efforts together. And look at their output. Instead of having all these separate teams focus on separate consoles, and okay, this quarter we're going to get like 3 3DS games but no Wii U games, but then we're going to get a Wii U game in the second quarter and no 3DS games, and then we'll get maybe a couple 3DS games trickle out here, and oh, the Wii U games got delayed because they take longer to make because this is Nintendo's first HD effort in the space, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of worry about the Wii U, but I think Nintendo with the Switch obviously has a hit on their hands. I mean,
Mhm.
it's going to pass the PS2 at some point in the next year and a half
And you
in
see,
sales.
speaking of rumors, that like there's a rumor now that people are acting like the successor to the Switch is not gonna sell at all, and I'm like, y'all are
Mhm.
stupid because like it's Nintendo, it will sell. What they should have said is the successor to Nintendo Switch is not going to sell as widely as the Switch that has done.
Yeah,
Because I feel like the Switch 2, that's what I'm going to call it until they give it an official name. The Switch 2 is going to have the same like path to entry that the Wii U had from the Wii.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a harder time transitioning people over because obviously the Switch has such a
So
huge
much
install
saturation.
base where, the benefit the Switch had was nobody bought a Wii U. So maybe people were hungry for a new Nintendo console that grew up on a Wii or maybe the tail end of the GameCube and transitioned over to PlayStation or Xbox or whatever. And people were like, yeah, I'm ready for some Nintendo. It's been a long time. And obviously having Breath of the Wild there at launch, even though it was a Wii U game, having it on Switch at launch was huge. And having that first party experience every 4 to 6 weeks for an entire year and a half for that console also, and then once the indies started trickling over, I think the Vita crowd who were desperate for handheld experiences on the go, right, made that transition also. I don't know. It was a perfect storm for Nintendo to be successful, I think, in hindsight, with the Switch. And yes, the next console is going to be incredibly successful. It's going to take longer to transition people over because the Switch has sold so many units. That's my guess. The good thing, though, is that new kind of information has kind of come out from someone from somewhere from Reuters, I think, which is like a tech enterprise tech news site that we use for work for our news show. Came out and said that NVIDIA is making some sort of custom chip
I
with
heard about
some
that too.
AI and like some kind of AI integration, and that the whatever the successor is going to be backwards compatible both physically and digitally, and it can enhance the current games in some way. And so I think that is going to strongly benefit the transition. Having that built-in library, I mean, if you can get Zelda running at, a strong at least 30 frames a second in handheld instead of somewhere between 18 and 24 frames a second in most cases, like.
But wait. They haven't said it's linked to the new Nintendo though. Am I right?
The
Did
NVIDIA
they say
chip?
that?
Yeah.
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 Oh, it is linked to the next.
Reuters said it was linked to Nintendo. I
Okay.
don't know if NVIDIA specifically said Nintendo, but also
Well,
I've heard from
what I mean
people
is
that
like
I
the
know at
new
NVIDIA.
Switch. Like it might be
Yeah.
linked to Nintendo, but what if this is R&D for like the third Nintendo Switch?
Well, I don't
Well,
think so.
I'm just saying, maybe Nintendo's finally starting to get that foresight that like Xbox and PlayStation are doing. Maybe.
Well, I think it's for this current Switch because I think if Nintendo's paying attention, especially to the Xbox hardware rumors that are flying around right now, which seem pretty, pretty true, right? Their next console is they're going to have two SKUs. One is going to be the powerful console and one's going to be the handheld.
That gets on my nerves, by the way. That
What,
gets on
two
my nerves.
SKUs? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that gets on my nerves.
I know.
And
the rumor around PlayStation is the same thing, though.
I know.
Supposedly they have a handheld
In all seriousness, that I feel like that's always once they started doing that, like releasing a system and then releasing a refresh that basically is a hardware jump. That's always gotten under my skin. It's like just make it the new console. That's always been my thing because number one, it gives me pause sometimes. Like if it wasn't for the fact that we're influencers in the video game sphere and stuff like that, I wouldn't have bought my PS5 so fast.
Yeah, I still don't think there's a reason to own either of these consoles right now, to be quite honest with you.
The reason to own them is just so like we have our hands on the tech and we can actually talk about the games and not be a bunch of frauds. Like
right, from a performance perspective and a technological perspective, yes. From the games that are out, like,
yeah,
it's like a hard maybe. So for those who don't know, I co-host a Destiny podcast. If you're new to the show, like a lot of our community is still playing on PS4. Like a lot of our community is still playing on PS4 or Xbox One.
There's been mornings I've woken up and I'm like, why did I waste $500 on the PlayStation? And I'm not saying I don't get enjoyment from my PlayStation. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like that $500 I spent on the PlayStation. I could have already had my RTX 3090 in my
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah. I mean, the reason why I bought the Xbox Series X is so I want my games to look and play the best as possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, I need that. But also, I bought it to play Destiny at 60 frames a second instead of 30. That was 75% of my decision to get it at launch, and that patch wasn't even ready at launch. I had to
Yeah,
wait 2 months for it.
Yeah, and they think they're about to refresh the fucking system.
Yeah, 2026 Xbox, new
It's
Xbox.
it's maddening. Yes.
It's upsetting. It is upsetting. I feel like this generation was, for PlayStation and Xbox specifically, was a massive experiment.
I was just about to say that. I feel like we were the I feel like we were the test model.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they made a console that they felt could be like a baseline for the future of everything, and they're like, in their minds, they're like, you guys are the beta testers for our ecosystem moving forward. What do you like? What don't you like? What do you want? Do you want anything to change? And obviously Xbox is going to go first next generation. It's clear as day they're going to go first next generation.
Yeah.
And people clearly want the handheld experience. Obviously the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, the Switch and whatever Nintendo does next, all handheld experiences, right? The dedicated handheld is dead, but the handheld that can take your library with you is alive and well, and is a massive selling point for people. And so I feel like that's what people want right now, and that's the direction that Sony and Microsoft are looking at. I think Microsoft was actually pretty smart to partner with ROG Ally as like a temporary kind of solution until they R&D their own stuff. But we'll see. I don't know, man. I really feel like this was a massive. This generation was a massive experiment and a massive like transitional. The next console is going to be the real console that you're going to want for a long time, type thing. So sorry, I feel like I hijacked this whole conversation, but
I feel like you and I were having the conversation. Damn, like Pat and Stephanie probably could have took the night off.
I know. Sorry, Pat. Sorry, Stephanie, even though you're in the bathroom. I see on chat. Pat, do you have anything to say about any of this?
Well, I mean, in terms of just
hold on, Pat, real fast. What is your preferred console right now?
That's what I was kind of getting to. I really don't have a horse in the game. I've had like every main manufactured console, from Nintendo to Sega to Microsoft to Sony. And honestly, the thing that drives me to whatever console I play is the games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I used to think I was a PlayStation person, but turns out last year I played more on my Switch than I did on my PlayStation, which kind of surprised me. But I think
it's surprising, but like if the game you want to play is in the right place or in the right environment, you're gonna go there. Like that year Monster Hunter Rise came out on the Switch, it basically put my PC and my PS4 5 to shame. I ran up so many hours on that until Rise came to PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it's basically wherever there's good games, I'm going to play it. Even next Gears of War, like I'd be willing to play it on my Xbox or, I will say though, if
Switch
Nintendo
too.
ever got an achievement system for their system,
I know.
I would say the Switch would probably win me over, like right there and then.
That was the big thing with the Wii U that we always used to talk about, because we thought they were experimenting with like Super Mario 3D World, Twilight Princess, and like 2 or 3 other games had the stamp collecting book, and you could collect stamps. And we were like, this is going to be their achievement system. You're going to collect the stamps, and then you're going to have like this big star on your stamp book for this game when you complete the entire thing.
Dude,
And then
that's
they
a
just
perfect
never did it.
idea.
I know, especially for Nintendo. It's such a kid-friendly idea.
Yeah.
Stephanie,
Steph, how
I
about
gotta,
you? Was there
yeah, I
some
gotta
things
ask you,
you'd
like,
like? Was there,
what's your preferred system?
It's split between Nintendo and PlayStation, and the majority is mostly based off of my history.
Hmm.
I first started off with Nintendo, probably for your typical reasons, because I was younger and that was like the kids' console. But I remained faithful to Nintendo, so to speak. One, because I admire and enjoy their IP. And I always did appreciate kind of their, when I say value system, I mean the fact that they are very when I say, oh man, I'm not using the right words. Like they're very efficient. And I know you guys just went over that. Like I appreciate their work ethic and efficiency. I like their motto of focusing on gameplay. I always appreciate their innovation. I like the innovation. I liked the Wii motion controls, like a weirdo that I am. And I always feel like Nintendo, with their business savvy and their business model, I just felt like they're a very reliable publisher and console, whatever, to rely on for in the future, forever and ever. And they've always had handheld console. So I think their history speaks to itself. Their leadership has spoken for themselves. So while I'm not necessarily a Nintendo diehard, and I acknowledge that they don't have a perfect system, I have a deep, genuine appreciation for their innovation. So that's why I kind of will always have some sort of Nintendo console in my house. Um, and then when I kind of grew out of some of the kiddie stuff in Nintendo, I chose PlayStation over Xbox primarily because PlayStation did come first. I had the PS2. But when Xbox came out, it was supposed to be like this cool dude console where all the boys would play shooters, and I felt excluded from that community. I felt like it wasn't for me. So I stayed with PlayStation. The gateway games that got me into it was Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts 2. And I started to notice a trend that they've primarily focused on story driven action adventure games. And that spoke to me more than a guy's first person shooter. No offense. I know my Xbox is
Oh,
way more. I know Xbox is more than that now, but that's just kind of what kept me with Sony for a while. Now, granted, I'm not as prior to joining this community. I wasn't. I need a console every generation. I had N64, Wii, Switch, and like Game Boy and 3DS. PlayStation, I had PS2, PS4, PS5 because I can't afford it all. And I don't need every single system at every time. I'll admit I do kind of question now, like, did I really need the PS5 and Xbox Series X given how things may or may not be unfolding? Um, but yeah, but as far as I'm not like a Sony pony. Like if they just stopped their story driven third person action adventures and they only focus on first person shooters moving forward, then I probably will slowly phase out my future PlayStation investment. I'll keep the system around until it breaks as a DVD player and to play all the games that exist on it, for sure. So, and that's why I feel like it's kind of silly for people who are hardcore on one console only. Um, it would be nice if all games were accessible everywhere, but I also feel like that might be the demise um, of individual consoles because if games are made available across all platforms, not that I am against it as a consumer, but if they are, what's to draw a customer towards one console or another?
Yeah, and thinking of a business standpoint, like as much as I would love just all games on one console, that would give the console monopoly and then set the price to whatever the hell they want to.
Not just that, it would be stagnation.
Mhm.
It would bring about the worst stagnation possible that I could think of.
And I think that's also the big thing right now too, is like, even if less people play Xbox or own an Xbox, it keeps that from happening to where PlayStation becomes the superpower, right? Where like, yeah, okay, Nintendo exists, but they're definitely playing a different game, no pun intended, than PlayStation is, right? Like, they're definitely two separate things, right? And you know, I do want to say though, I mean, like, depending on what happens tomorrow, like, yes, I'm in the Xbox ecosystem primarily for games, but depending on what happens tomorrow, like the if I'm gonna go buy a game, I might second guess purchasing on an Xbox now, you know,
And that'll be and
and
that'll be and that'll be Microsoft's doing.
yeah, and but yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is like that's where the poor communication comes in. That's where like their poor decision making over the years has come in, right? Like it's hard to kind of imagine a space where PlayStation is the only HD console. Now, this could be a conversation for another day, but if hypothetically, if Xbox goes away, who would be the next challenger to PlayStation, right? Who's going to come in and fill that third slot? You know, is it Apple? Google tried and kind of failed. You know, I think it would be really fascinating if Sega re-entered the console market, because I mean, Ed and I
Sega
had
already
that.
came out. Sega already came out and said they have no plans on releasing hardware.
I know, but it would be really fascinating because they actually have the IP to do it now, right? On top of their classic IP, I mean, they have Yakuza, they have Persona, Shin Megami Tensei, Sonic. You know, they have a lot that they could probably do something with if they ever did. I know they're not going to, but I think it would be really fascinating. But uh, you know, is Amazon going to try again?
I'd almost think that maybe someone like maybe even just like a Magnavox or like some just
Yes,
hardware
Odyssey 2.
manufacturer would just create a box and not even worry about the games. Be like, this is our hardware,
Mm-hmm.
and then other companies make games for them.
Yeah. You know who else would be really fascinating? Also, would be Valve. Would be fascinating.
I was thinking Valve, but I think Valve is just trying to perfect their handheld market.
I know, but I mean, I know they already tried with the Steam machine, and that was kind of like their half-ass step into the console market, right? But like, if they really tried, especially with the success of the Steam Deck, right, and like, if they really tried and put out a box that was $400 that was kind of optimized for Steam, right? Like, that could be really interesting. So, anyways, that'd be a conversation for a different day because I feel like we've really been running long on this conversation already, but it's really fun. This was a good conversation. I know LeRon and I kind of hogged the whole conversation, but um,
I was waiting for y'all to step in.
Stephanie just gave you some eyeballs.
I'm no, for real. Like I'm for real. Like it's open floor. You know, like.
I know. I'm just not good. I know better than to interrupt like a train of thought, and it was very educational. So
um,
And by the way, for people who are wondering, my preferred system is definitely a PlayStation. I've been PlayStation ever since the PS1. Like I took a chance on that console actually because that was the new entry in there and stuff like that. Yeah, I still have my Sega systems and stuff like that, but I was like, there's something fascinating about the PlayStation, and I've just stuck ever since. I've had every console release that the PlayStation has come out, that Sony has come out with the exception of the VR stuff, because I can't do 3D in VR. Like my eyes just don't fuck with it. But every handheld they've had, every mainstream console they've had, and like for the most part, like that's been my thing. but I'm a PC gamer because in all realism, like I enjoy games and I want to get the best experience I can from games as possible and stuff like that. Like I don't like being kneecapped by frames sometimes. I don't like being kneecapped by like like loading times and speeds and stuff like that. I don't like being kneecapped, on the fact that I have to spend upwards of $150 fucking dollars to play games online. I don't like that shit. I don't. That's the reason why I have not reactivated my PlayStation Plus. Like I haven't even at the cheapest tier. I have not done it because like I'm kind of tired of it. And also like I don't need all those fucking free games every month they give you that I never fucking play and just fills up my hard drive. My very valuable hard drive on my PlayStation 5.
Oh man, imagine Nintendo and PlayStation were still together. God, nobody would dare compete with that.
Yeah.
Although we don't know how it would,
we don't know how it would have worked. It probably would have found some way to crash and burn.
Yeah. So, do we want to hit this second topic at all, or do we want to save it for next week?
I kind of
We'll
forget.
save it for next week.
Yeah, let's save that. Let's save it.
Yeah,
I had to look. I had to look for a second because I forgot what the topic was. Like,
all right, we're getting out of here. I knew that was the answer. I just didn't know if it really was the answer. Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of the Boss Rush Podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast application of choice. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. If you want to support us, you can head on over to patreon.com/Boss Rush Network. Throw us $1 or $2, get early access, voting rights, etc. Double entry into our giveaway for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yeah, I think that's it. BossRush.net. We're going to PAX. If you're going, come say hi. LeRon, Stephanie, Pat, appreciate your time tonight as always. And thank everybody out there for watching and or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Christian S., Sana Dirrig, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, and Todd Oxtra. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.